Meteorologist Erika Paige with a look at what's happening right now and what's to come.
Yeah, so really tonight, it's just kind of waiting on those lake effect snow bands to start setting up. They haven't just yet, and it still may take a couple more hours, but you will see that becoming more and more the case as we get into the early hours of your Sunday. And once a system passes us by to the south, gives us a little bit more help, you're going to see more widely scattered snow showers develop through the day on Sunday before things really just start to turn towards those bitterly cold temperatures Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday of this upcoming work week. So in terms of the snow, where we expect the greatest impact will be out across parts of our primary snow belt. That's where we have the winter weather advisory in effect. But you'll notice totals will vary a little bit depending on where you're at, and certainly depending on where the heaviest of the bands end up setting up. If you fall under one of those more persistent bands for a longer period of time, you'll err on the higher side of that range. Expect more of us to be closer to that 3-inch mark. The farther west you go through Cuyahoga County, the more you're probably going to trend more so towards the 1 to 3-inch range. And that's just because of where we expect those bands to set up tomorrow. So please, no matter where you're at, make sure you're preparing just that roads could be a little slick and that you may need to budget a little extra time to get where you need to be. This evening, everything has been pretty quiet. If you've been out and about, sidewalks, driveways might start to feel a little greasy. Please know that that is going to continue just as these temperatures start falling a little bit more. We're waiting on some snow to start developing out across Lake Erie and get a little help from the north. Right now, we're not seeing a whole lot of that happening just yet, so it is going to take a little bit of time before we finally start to see those scattered snowflakes mixing in across our area. That will happen likely between 1, 2 o'clock in the morning here, so we've got some time. Temperatures dropping into the 20s with that north wind about 5 to 15 miles per hour. It will be cold. Here's your future view, and you can kind of see how this is going to evolve over the next couple of hours. As we close out the rest of your Saturday, no big issues really for us other than the fact that you're going to have a little bit of that black ice that starts developing. Otherwise, here comes that more persistent band of lake effect snow as we get into the early hours of your Sunday. And as that system starts to gather a bit more organization to the south, you can see it a little closer to the Pittsburgh area. That's going to help give us a few more bands of snow going out across Lake Erie. It's going to give more of us an opportunity to see some of those scattered snow showers through the day. And certainly, it's going to be a bit more cold than what we've been dealing with even through the afternoon hours this afternoon. Most of us are going to be sitting about mid to upper teens across the area. By tomorrow night, the extreme cold watch starts to go into effect area-wide. Again, they have not upgraded this yet. We're still waiting on that word from the National Weather Service as to when they're going to flip, whether it's going to be a cold weather advisory versus the extreme cold warning. Regardless, it's just going to be cold here as we kind of enter into the upcoming work week. As for tomorrow, temperatures about 22 degrees for your daytime high. That will be reached closer to about midday, and then your temperature is just going to continue to fall as we go into the evening hours, watching for more of those scattered snow showers across the area. We'll dive into this forecast a little bit more coming up in just a few minutes. All right, we are tracking several 19 first alert weather days. Tomorrow was added earlier today because of the chance that you're going to see some lake effect snow, and we know with temperatures well below freezing now at this point, we're going to be watching for some slick spots and certainly some spots that could also pick up about 3 to 6 inches. That'll be primarily into our snow belt, but again, it'll really all just depend on where those lake effect bands end up setting up. Then we start to get the cold air filtering in late tomorrow night, and that's what's going to lead us to kind of these brutally cold conditions Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday. Please make sure you're limiting time spent outside. Your pets, livestock, they have warm places to be. Pets should be brought, of course, indoors when temperatures are going to be this cold. I mean, we're talking wind chill values that could easily be -20. That's how the air temperature is going to feel to your body. Air temperature will actually be into the single digits to the minus category, especially once we get into the overnights. But again, just make sure you're taking the necessary precautions to keep yourself, your family, your pets, everything like that safe as we deal with some of these colder temperatures. Here's your temperature tracker. Tomorrow, we're going to be into the lower 20s. So we're beginning this fall tonight. We won't really rebound a lot by early tomorrow morning. Then you get the Arctic front that rolls through tomorrow evening. That will solidify those single-digit high temperatures Monday into Tuesday before we start gaining a little bit of ground Wednesday, though well below average as we begin the early part of this next week. As we've said, it's going to be the lake effect that I think is really going to be the focus for us as we go through the day on Sunday. Winter weather advisories in effect for Cuyahoga, Lake Geauga, as well as Ashtabula counties. That's not to say that areas outside the primary primary snow belt will not pick up anything. I do think that with the way the winds are going to be oriented tomorrow, some places well south of the lakeshore could certainly pick up a couple inches of snow, but I would say outside of our primary and potentially parts of our secondary snow belt, really you're only looking at about trace to about an inch of snow on average. Of course, there's possible scenarios where you could pick up a little bit more than that, but it's really just going to depend on where those lake effect bands end up setting up. Here's your future view. Gives you an idea of how things go through the rest of tonight. We're still waiting on this band to set up, and I do think it's going to take still a couple more hours before we really start to see any better organization. So don't expect going to bed tonight you're going to be seeing a lot of snow all across Northeast Ohio. It's just not going to happen. It's going to stay pretty relatively isolated here as we get your Sunday started, but there's a system passing us by to the south. That's going to enhance what we call a little bit of lift in our atmosphere, so that gets you a better opportunity of seeing some of these more widely scattered snow showers across the board, and that's what your best snow chance will likely be as we go through the day tomorrow. Then you start to see these winds shifting a little bit off towards the northwest and then eventually more westerly, and that's going to carry a lot of those lake effect bands northward by the time we wake up early on your Monday. You can see that with your future view as we get the day started. But notice where your temperatures will sit first thing Monday morning. In some spots, especially if any clouds clear out, you're talking 0 to about 5 degrees. Farther to the east where cloud cover and potentially a little bit of snow is around, that's where temperatures will likely be in that 5 to 10 degree range, which is generally where we're going to spend then the rest of the afternoon as we go through the day on Monday. If you're near the lakeshore, keep in mind some lake effect snow showers will still be possible Monday. Same can be said as we look ahead towards early Tuesday. So just be mindful of that wherever your plans may take you if you're going to be traveling out and about. Otherwise, extreme cold watch goes into effect tomorrow night. That will last through Wednesday morning because of some of those brutal wind chill values. Again, these are the wind chills. This is how that temperature feels to your body. You'll notice by tomorrow evening, we're already starting to see that fall below 0. By early Monday, some places could feel like we're already at the minus 20 degree range with very minimal improvements as we go through the afternoon hours. So just kind of keep that in mind now. Headed into early this next week, though, again, we do start to rebound once we get into Wednesday afternoon. Temperatures Thursday into Friday back into the mid-20s. Overnight lows are also improving by this point. I just don't see us getting to freezing just yet. There is some data that tries to get us closer to that by Sunday of this next week. But again, that will all depend on how these next couple of systems will roll out by the time we kind of get through Friday and Saturday. So stay tuned for that. Otherwise, just make sure you have those preparations ready to go to stay warm and to stay safe.